edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Coming to you from Uncharacteristic Studios. And folks, we are only a few days away from GeekCon. Now, this is actually the first GeekCon that I've been to. I haven't been able to go to the last two because of my previous job, but thankfully, I'm able to go to this one. And I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to meet some of the guests that they have lined up. Now, as you're watching this, GeekCon is probably already started, but that's okay. There have actually been two more guests that have been added to the list of guests over at GeekCon that we're going to talk about in Comically Speaking. But for right now, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. Alright, last week's episode, I asked, who created Dragon Ball? Well, the correct answer is Akira Toriyama. Now, Toriyama created Dragon Ball as a manga series. It started out as a manga series in 1984, and it became an anime series 2 years later. And there have been other series that have been continuations of the series of Dragon Ball. There's Dragon Ball Z, which is the most popular out of all of them. Dragon Ball GT, and the most recently released, Dragon Ball Super. Well, 11 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in the drawing for a free tee, and that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Laura Hicks from Farmerville, Louisiana. So congratulations, Laura. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Mr. Camera. That's all right. All right, here's the question for next week's episode, and it's a flash question. Besides Barry Allen, who are the other DC characters that have been the Flash? There's 3 of them. Everyone who answers correctly will be in the drawing for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't thrive in. Questions I will survive in. Questions.
Alright, I only have one question this week, and it's from Mandy Hooter from Medford, Oregon. She asked, in what state is Freeland from Black Lightning? I can easily answer that question. It's Michigan. Freeland is actually a fictitious suburb of Detroit. And one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the Black DC characters is that a lot of them are based in parts of Detroit. Cyborg was based in Detroit, and then there was previously a character that took on the mantle of Firestorm named Jason Rush, who is also from Detroit. And then a character who's not black, he's Muslim, by the name of Simon Baz, who's currently a Green Lantern, is from Dearborn, Michigan. So there's your answer, Michigan. All right, that's it for any questions. If you have any questions you want to ask, keep them coming. Bring them on. As long as they're related to comics or anything within that realm or related to the show, I'll ask and answer them. Alright, now your Nitsa Bodifern from Canton, Ohio has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, and this one features 2 characters who are both unstoppable forces and unmovable objects. But only one of them is unstoppable and unmovable to an extent. Representing DC, we have Supergirl. And representing Marvel, we have Luke Cage. These 2 are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
The Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Supergirl versus Luke Cage. Supergirl possesses superhuman strength, stamina, durability, healing and longevity, superhuman speed, superhuman agility, superhuman reflexes, heat vision, electromagnetic spectrum vision, microscopic vision, X-ray vision, telescopic vision, infrared vision, freeze breath, wind breath, invulnerability, and flight. Luke Cage possesses superhuman strength and durability, unbreakable skin, an accelerated healing factor. Who would win? Supergirl would dominate in this fight, and unlike her merciful cousin, would be merciless. Just as she's about to deliver the final blow, Jessica Jones comes out of nowhere and knocks Supergirl out cold. You're probably wondering how she was able to do that. Simple. She had a chunk of kryptonite in her pocket. She then turns to Luke and says, "Luke, honey, how many times do I have to tell you to leave the female near-indestructible aliens to me?" Luke replies, "Sorry, baby. She was in Harlem. I had to do something." Jessica concludes, "You're going to do something all right, Cage. You're going to sleep on the couch." Jessica Jones wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that fight. If you have fight requests for future episodes, contact info is down there. Alright folks, it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, there are going to be 4 things that I'm going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and the first one was what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, the 2 guests that have been added to the roster of guests at GeekCon. And they're both comics artists, and they've been around for quite a while. The first is Roland Paris. Now, he has worked extensively for Marvel for a little more than 25 years. And he is a Baton Rouge native, and I originally met him at what was BC Comics a little over 2 years ago. And looking forward to meeting him again. Great guy. Very great guy. And the second is somebody I met at ShreveCon at Centenary College last December, and I'm talking about Sam De La Rosa. Now, Sam has been a comics artist and an inker for Marvel for more than 30 years, and he is inked behind a lot of great pencilers, and most of his artwork has been done in issues of Superman and The Amazing Spider-Man, notably some of the issues that Venom was in. But 2 great artists. Can't wait to see him again. Guys, if you're watching this, I'll see you on Saturday. Alright, now the second thing I'm going to talk about is Bart Allen. Now, Bart Allen has been absent from DC Comics since the end of Flashpoint in 2011. And at that point, when Flashpoint ended, the New 52 got started. And he has been absent from there. There was somebody that was masquerading as him, but it wasn't him, it was some alien that only pretended to be Bart Allen. And he had one encounter with the Flash, and even he wasn't, he was like, "I don't know who you are, but go away." But the true Bart Allen is going to be the protagonist of another Flash war that's coming up. And I can't wait to read that. I mean, the first Flash War just ended, and holy cow! You talk about skeletons coming out of Wally West's closet, and I'm not talking about the Kid Flash that debuted in the New 52. I'm talking about the original Wally West. All right, and the second thing. Not the second thing. The third thing. I'm sorry. All right, now the third thing is Batman 3 Jokers. This is miniseries coming on that's going to be coming out from DC's recently launched Black Label. Now, Black Label is to me, DC's Black Label. I kind of compare that to a rated R movie, a rated R horror movie. Well, most horror movies rated R. But this all got started after a story arc from an earlier volume of Justice League called the Dark Side War, where a majority of the Justice League, in order to defeat Darkseid, Darkseid and his minions from Apokolips, is to take on the powers of the New Gods. And Batman ended up taking on, dethroning Metron from his chair of knowledge, and he got on the chair himself. And he found out a lot of stuff. And he found out there are actually 3 people that have masqueraded as the Joker. And I'm thinking this has to do with Batman finding out who these 3 people are. I think I have a guess as to who I think is the is one of these Jokers, and it's Jack Napier. Now, if that name sounds familiar to any of y'all, that was the Joker that was in Batman Returns. I mean, not Batman Returns, but the Batman movie from 1989, the first one directed by Tim Burton. That was the one that Jack Nicholson played. And I can't wait to read it. Now, I don't know, I'm kind of weird. When it comes to blood and gore in a movie, I can't stand it, but if it's blood and gore in comics, I'm all in. But Batman 3 Jokers coming soon. Now, the final thing. The return of Uncanny X-Men. Now, Uncanny X-Men was discontinued by Marvel a few years ago after more than 547 issues. But it's back. Now, I don't know if there's going to be... Now, more than likely, there's probably going to be a renumbering. And then they're going to... and I think Marvel is going to also honor the legacy as the legacy number as they done with several other books. But this one is going to be part of a 10 issue story arc called Disassemble. Now, this is off the heels of another Marvel X-Men event called Extermination. And it's going to be written by Ed Brisson, Kelly Thompson, and Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Mahmoud Asrar, R.B. Silva, Yildiray Cinar, and Perry Perez. Now, in this story arc, there's going to be quite a few members of... This is going to involve every mutant in the Marvel Universe. Not all of them are X-Men. Some of them are just mutant, or some of them are former X-Men, and some of them are just mutants who have never been among the ranks of the X-Men. And in this one, there's no guarantee that everyone will survive. But Uncanny X-Men coming back to Marvel in November. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, first up is Exiles number 6. The Flash number 52. The Amazing Spider-Man number 3. Champions number 23. Supergirl number 21. Detective Comics number 986. Catwoman number 2. Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps number 50. Spider-Man vs. Deadpool number 37. Superman number 2. Titans number 24. Wonder Woman number 52. Excuse me. X-Men Blue number 33. And finally, and I'm so excited about this book being back, Fantastic Four number 1. Now I need to talk about this. This is the first issue of Fantastic Four in, I want to say just over 3 years. And Marvel should have never canceled this book in the first place. This is the first team book that Marvel came out with. It is also the first collaboration between Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. this comes off the heels of the current Marvel series entitled Marvel 2-in-1, where the Thing and Human Torch are going universe hopping to find Reed, Sue, and then their children, and then all the other members of the Future Foundation. And they found them, and the band and the family are back together. And so is and I don't care what anyone says. This is still the world's greatest comics magazine. I've been a long-time fan, and I'm so glad they're back. But Marvel, don't cancel them ever again. Don't cancel any book. I mean, a lot of folks. I mean, Marvel tried to play it off and say that they canceled it because of lack of sales. I say nonsense. Marvel canceled this book because of what 20th Century Fox did while with the Fantastic Four reboot, which makes no sense. That's like building a house only to tear it down only because you see a roach inside of it. Makes no sense at all. Alright, but that's 14, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 8,838. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. Besides Barry Allen, name the other 3 characters that have been the Flash. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Laura Hicks from Farmerville, Louisiana, who won a free tee in this week's episode. Woo, boy. GeekCon is in a few days, and I can't keep gushing about it because anyone who knows me knows I love a good Comic-Con. And this one is no exception. No exception at all. You have the list of guests that are going to be there. You have John Wesley Shipp. You have Eric Estrada, you have Mick Foley, Helen Slater, Pruitt Taylor Vince, Chris Sarandon, Dana Snyder, and then and Christopher Judge. And then you have Roland Paris and Sam De La Rosa, who are 2 great legendary artists that I'm really good friends with, and I can't wait to see again. I mean, 2 great guys. And then and I can only imagine there's also going to be some awesome vendors. I know Excalibur Comics from Shreveport, Louisiana, who I buy my books from, is going to be there. So that and so much more. And I hope to see y'all there on Saturday. That's the day I'm going to be there. But if you choose to go, you can go. I mean, just go and show up. Because Comic-Cons to me are one of the few things in this world that bring people together. And in times like these, we really need unity. And Comic-Con is the one place, and Comic-Cons are the one place where you can find them, because you don't necessarily have to be a comic book nerd. You don't necessarily have to be an anime. You don't necessarily have to be in manga. Or, I mean, you can just, it just brings folks from, no matter whether you do, whether you're into all that stuff or not, just brings them all together. And that is the beauty of Comic-Cons. And that's what I love. I love unity. I know I'm getting a little mushy here, but I just want to say this. We live in a world where we do way too much talking, but not enough listening. And I think it's high time that we need to listen to each other. That's all. But GeekCon, woo, boy, this is going to be great. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to be there. All right, but anyway, I'm Victor Nunley on the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 225. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and I'll see you at GeekCon.